We're always doing domestic abuse awareness campaigns. We're always asking people to actually ring us in order that we can try and assist them and signpost them. What we want to do is just to reach out to get more people to actually phone the police. You're right, it's very, very difficult. And the issue is that sometimes they call the police at the crisis point, but then they don't want to provide a statement. And there's many, many reasons for that. Some of it can be financial, some of it can be that they just need the assistance at the time, but then are too afraid to go through with the actual criminal proceedings. So we're looking at different ways all the time to try and tackle that. You know, we look at domestic violence disclosure schemes, we look at DVPOs. The DVPO is a fantastic piece of legislation which allows us to take the offender out of the home for 28 days, which gives the victim of domestic abuse time to consider their options on what they want to do. Because what we do is we work very closely with our partner agencies. We work with sort of like Women's Aid, we work with IDFA, which is the Independent Domestic Violence Advocates. These people, along with ourselves, try and support victims and support them through the criminal proceedings.
May is expected to announce next week. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, Jackie.
How has this come about, this actually bringing in a law against this coercive control? What is it that you've been doing?
Well, I think it's fantastic that the police, campaigners, women groups, government are all working together, and the government are to be commended for what I expect they'll be announcing over the next few days. But really, it comes from way back in my days in probation, where probation ran programmes for perpetrators. They worked in that abuse was contained during the course of their participation in the programmes, but it got worse when the programmes ended. And victims were also supported by probation during that process, and they felt let down by the criminal justice system. When I looked at, with colleagues, what was wrong, the first thing we found was that women didn't report. It was 30 incidents before they did come to the police. The police tended to deal with the incident that happened that day rather than the totality of the behaviour, and therefore the bundle that went to the Crown Prosecution Service wasn't good enough to bring a charge that was representative of the totality of that behaviour. And that moved us closer and closer to the notion of criminalising the behaviour itself, coercive control, which could be physical violence, it could be psychological damage, it could be financial control, or it would be restricting the woman's movements, not letting her go out to see her friends. So we built up a body of evidence which we presented to MPs. I've had meetings at Downing Street, in the Cabinet Office, the Home Office, and gradually the government have been persuaded that they need to act, and it's fantastic that they're doing so. Over the last few days, whose lives have been ruined really, even though the damage happened many, many years ago, they've had to live with that for forever. Their self-esteem goes, they have very, very low confidence. I was talking to some researchers from Liverpool on Friday who said, even if the abuse stops, if it's been long-term, the women never really recover. So I think that the government have been persuaded that this is a very, very serious matter, that it should be a priority for the police. I worry very much about police cuts. Reading in the papers just a few days ago talking about another 20%. And I also think it's essential that, as Trish was saying, that the police need to be properly trained so that they know how to gather the evidence. So it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult for all of us, but at least we're all facing in the same direction.
Yeah, and Trish, I
have to do more around vulnerability. So this new legislation is going to be fantastic for us. It's another tool for us to be able to tackle domestic abuse.
And in the run-up to Christmas, it's always a notoriously difficult time, and you get more and more incidents, don't you, of domestic violences during the festive season. What problems does that cause you?
It is, and normally with the run-up to Christmas, we do see an increase in the number of domestic abuse incidents. We have enough staff out there to actually manage that demand, and it's just looking at sort of like trying to help the victims. And we want people to actually phone us, and we want to be able to assist.
So if somebody's watching this and they're getting frightened, they get more to.
But if there is an incident that's going on, we will attend and we will speak to them about what their options are.
Well, thank you both for being in the run-up to Christmas. There are you know, when everyone's enjoying themselves and having a good time, unfortunately, domestic violence is on the increase. But this is a huge step forward to tackling it.
Well, I hope this gives people some light at the end of the tunnel, because we do know with domestic abuse, and particularly with the psychological abuse, actually it's being able to pull away from that, which is very, very difficult for victims, isn't it?
It's so hard to quantify psychological abuse, but when it's happened over years and years,
that hope that you can actually do something about it and get the support that you need. We've got more from Jackie in a moment, including our appeal for help tracing missing people, and we'll have a look at the success of the gun amnesty. Stay with us.